Jason Wells with Vingenti Media. And I wanted to talk about online marketing and the diminishing returns that you can sometimes get. Now, what made me think about discussing this was I actually got a phone call from my dad probably about a week ago. Knowing that I do this kind of stuff, he wanted to ask me, how would I set up a website for like an immigration type attorney, which, he's an attorney, so he's thinking about diversifying. And so how would I get clients? How would the website help with that? And what would each client cost? All really good questions from a business standpoint. So on an exploratory level, I went to Google and I used some of the tools that they teach us in our certification programs. I used a tool to see how many website clicks he should expect by advertising, and then how much each click would cost, then determining your budget, and then down the road he could actually determine as far as people that convert, meaning give their name and phone number to say I'm interested. And then he could later take that and say how many of those people actually become clients and pay money. So that's how you determine your conversion rates. So as I was doing the research, it made me see something that I see all the time in online marketing, and particularly with service firms like law firms. And that's that the people were way overpaying for their click or really driving up the price. And that could be caused by a couple of reasons, and both are likely. But the thing that I noticed was, this is something that even a rookie in my mind would understand, because the graph that was being shown clearly demonstrated that there was some diminishing returns to paying more per click. And so what I mean by that is, obviously the more you pay, the more clicks you're going to get. So the graph would move upward. If you paid more, your amount of clicks would go up, so the graph would go up. But the graph leveled off at about $2 a click, and the range was from 80 cents to, would you believe, $32 a click. I'm trying to figure out who's paying $32 a click when the amount of clicks you get more a day from, say, $2 to $3 is negligible. It's not even worth it to pay it. And so that made me think of this subject. And so I started looking at the areas of law that my dad does that I actually used to do years ago. And I was amazed to see the incompetence out there in whoever's doing the advertising. I don't know if the law firms are trying to do it themselves or if the firms they're hiring are just absolutely clueless. But this just shows buyer beware, and why I wanted to talk about this, because we're talking about a very basic common sense concept. When you look at a graph and the graph levels off at a certain point, and yet people are spending $32 a click when you were getting diminishing returns at $2, I don't get it. And I'm praying that it's the law firm that's doing it, not some firm the law firm is hired. Now, I understand that sometimes if somebody was paying $32 a click and they were still getting a return on investment, it makes sense. But there's a point where you have to analyze other types of medium, and that's even outside of online marketing. It's why we're a media company. I mean, we will recommend other types of marketing to people if we feel like the online market isn't the best avenue for them, or normally it's a hybrid of the two. And in this case, my recommendation to my dad was, you're definitely going to have to do more than online marketing, and you're definitely going to have to use multiple marketing platforms, which doesn't mean a lot to him. because he doesn't know a lot about it. So I had to explain that. And basically what I'm saying is you can't rely on just, say, Google. You have to use some other advertising platforms. You're going to have to do some other creative online marketing techniques. And so essentially, he's going to have to hire somebody like me if he wants to be effective and use his money wisely. And that probably applies to a lot of the lawyers and other service firms out there. And I think the reason why they're such a bad area for this type of things is they're a very specialty type business, and they don't have time to deal with their marketing. And they either have somebody that are business managers at a minimum, or they hire somebody on the outside. And the problem is a lot of the people they hire, they don't know what they're doing. And how would they know that? That's not their expertise. And that's the problem. Is it would be like, a marketing person being expected to know what a lawyer knows in their respective area of practice. So it's not a knock on, say, lawyers that hire the wrong firms, because how would they know? That's why they're hiring somebody. They're relying on them to be a marketing expert. And so one of the ways you can determine if your situation is okay is you need to start asking these types of questions, like at what point are there diminishing returns? Like, how much am I paying and what are other people paying? And, what's my quality score? Ask that question. If you don't know what quality score is, a lot of marketing platforms use it. Google search engine quality score, or if you use Yahoo, whatever search engine you use, just search those terms and read up on it. The more you read, the more you'll realize that you need somebody to do your marketing for you. And if you already have somebody, you need to make sure they're doing it right. Because a low quality score could be another reason why some people are paying over $2 a click for this type of marketing in order to get any traffic at all. Because if their quality score is low, they're being punished for that. There's something with their website that's not right. And so in this case, it was Google AdWords platform. Google was basically punishing them for having a low quality score. And again, as a business owner, how in the heck are you going to know that that's happening unless you know this stuff? So you don't need to know everything about this, but you need to know what questions to ask. And so when I saw this, I'm not looking at these other lawyers that are advertising in this area. I can't see their accounts, but I can guess from the stats that I was seeing and the kind of numbers just from my experience. Obviously I can't be absolutely certain because I'm not inside their accounts seeing what's going on, but my experience tells me that there's some stuff that's not being done right. And I'll leave you with this. I had mentioned that I look back at the kind of law that I had practiced in the past, and the kind of law that my dad has done for years. And I can tell you that there was a lawyer in one town that was advertising in a town 2 hours away that he doesn't even want to practice law in. And he may not even be aware of that. He just is paying some media company to do his print and online advertising, and they don't know what the heck they're doing, because when you type in the keywords that would bring up what he does, the kind of law he does, it's coming up in an area that he doesn't even practice in, or he doesn't even work. In fact, he has buddies in that area that would be ticked off to know that he's competing down there, and he doesn't even know that that's happening. So this is the kind of stuff that happens out there. And so I wanted to share this with you, because if you have a small business and you have a website, which I'm assuming you do if you're listening to this, you want to be aware of this stuff, because the online marketing world is, I'll just say it, it's a mess, because it's a fairly new industry. It's really, Google AdWords has only really been around for, I want to say, don't quote me on this, but it's been about 11, 12 years now. So it's a fairly new industry. And so people are still trying to figure out this whole thing. And there are a lot of hack firms out there that claim they know what they're doing with this stuff, and they just don't. And so Anyways, it's something that I want to discuss. This is actually a really valuable discussion to you. You need to take the time to determine if you're doing the right things or if you have the right people working for you. And that's what I wanted to leave you with.